CJ Flyer back with Fire, another YouTube video. Today teaching you how to create the most authentic March Madness college basketball experience in NBA 2K24. First, you're going to want to go into MyNBA off of the main menu and create a new file in the modern era. Then you're going to go to Setup Options and make sure you turn on Customize League Rules, Customize Roster, Customize League, Customize Simple Settings, and Customize Advanced Settings. For advanced CBA rules, you can go ahead and turn all of those off. Role-playing elements, this is up to your own discretion, but I've gone ahead and turned off morale and chemistry. Budget and finances, turn off salary cap and hard cap. Turn off the play-in tournament. And then once you go ahead and advance from there, you'll be given the option to pick a roster. Go ahead and select the user-created roster. Now, whether on the PS5 or Xbox Series X or S, you're going to see an NCAA option 4 rows down, at least at the current time that I'm recording this on February 29th, 2024. That NCAA option you actually do not want to click. I do not recommend that roster. I think there is an even better roster further down the list here. Go to the roster named 2023-24 NCAA College Rosters by 2easy_just_quit on the PS5. I don't know if this guy's got a social media handle or something he'd like to shout out, but shout out to him for making an incredible roster. A lot of effort, I can tell, went into this. He's got several dozens of college rosters from the current day NCAA college basketball season. Obviously, not all the player models or attributes or animations are perfect, but my goodness, he's got just about everyone in there that I could think of. As a Purdue fan, he's got some of the bench players that don't even really get playing time, so I'm very impressed that he seems to have gotten just about everyone in there from all of the popular teams. Now, once you go ahead and download that roster, you have the option to customize the league now, and to access the college teams. Each current day NBA team is actually associated with a college team. So, for example, Purdue is associated with the New Orleans Pelicans. USC with Bronny James and Isaiah Collier is associated with the Los Angeles Clippers. So, depending on what teams you want to use for your March Madness experience, you can go ahead, mix and match. If you click Add New and add a team, there's a whole bunch of other college teams associated with different classic team rosters. And then the all-time teams are actually all-time college rosters. So, for example, there is a North Carolina all-time roster that has players such as Vince Carter, Michael Jordan, Kenny Smith. So once you've customized the league as you see fit, you go ahead and advance, and now you are in the settings setup. For this exercise, I've turned autosave off. Now from here on out, everything's sort of a recommendation. There is a regular season that you'll have to play or simulate, and so I recommend putting it to a 35-game season, or it's going to be different based on the number of teams in your league. Traditionally, with the appropriate number of NBA teams, I believe is in the ballpark of 29 games. Essentially, every team gets to play every opponent one time in the regular season before going to the playoffs. Quarter length, I set this to 10 minutes to sort of simulate the college experience where we have two 20-minute halves. Unfortunately, you can't change the quarters to halves, but just to get the stats and the experience as authentic as possible, 4 10-minute quarters, 2 20-minute halves, same time. Most important, of course, if you scroll down to the playoff length setup, setting every round to be one game, so it's a single elimination rounds as opposed to the NBA where it's a best of 7. Now, if you hit the right trigger a few times, proceed to the contract settings. Go ahead and turn off the contracts. And then probably the most important one, hitting right trigger again and going to the trade settings. Make sure you turn off CPU trades. You do not want that on because just imagine Purdue trades Zach Edey to USC for Bronny James or something ridiculous like that. Completely out of your control. You definitely don't want college teams trading players, at least not during the season. So I recommend going ahead, turning CPU to CPU trades off, turn off CPU trade offers, and then you can turn off the CPU trade logic. Hit the right trigger again and you're in the injuries menu. I recommend turning them off, but it's up to your own discretion, however you want to play out your March Madness experience. Progression I've left on, but that's also up to your own discretion how you'd like to utilize that feature. And then of course difficulty simulation, again, sort of up to your own discretion how you want to play out your March Madness experience. Once you go ahead and advance, there will be the Association Rules Setup menu. Now this one, again, is for people that want to have the most authentic experience possible, making the rule changes to be more like college basketball rather than the NBA. Of course, not all of the rule changes are available, but a lot of them are, so I'll go through each one that I recommend setting up. First, go over to the shot clock rule changes and change the shot clock from 24 seconds to 30 seconds as it is in college basketball. Then I would change the shot clock reset rule to go from partial reset to a full duration reset when the possession remains with the same team. Foul out rule change, of course, in college basketball, it takes 5 fouls to foul out as opposed to the NBA where you have to foul 6 times to get fouled out. Rule changes for lane violation and zone defense. Now, for those of you that are not aware, the defensive key violation is very much specific to the NBA and not present in college basketball in any sense. So I'd go ahead, allow zone defenses, but remove the defensive key violation rule. 8-second violation rule. This, of course, is the amount of time it takes for the player to get the ball across half court. And in college basketball, that's actually 10 seconds as opposed to 8 seconds. Now here's one that I also think is important for the true experience for March Madness, for the playoffs. Instead of the top 8 teams from each conference making it into the tournament, I actually recommend going ahead and setting it up so that you have the top 16 teams in the entire league. That way, in case you have a really strong conference over another, you end up with good all-around teams as opposed to some really bad teams and some really good teams. Possession arrow rule change. I'd go ahead and replace the jump balls with the possession arrow. Again, totally up to your own discretion. Rule changes for the bonus. Now this one's a little bit tricky because no matter what you choose, it's not going to be quite exactly like college basketball because again, we're working with quarters as opposed to halves. So we can't set up the rules specific to that. However, what we can do is still incorporate a 1+1 bonus as opposed to in the NBA where when you enter the bonus, you get 2 free throws right off the bat. So what I've gone ahead and done for the quarters and also for the overtime period is set it so that the opposing teams will enter a 1+1 bonus after 5 team fouls and a full bonus after 10 teams fouls, aka the double bonus in college basketball. For the transition fouls rule change, I've gone ahead and just removed the additional penalty for a foul in transition. This was something that the NBA recently incorporated into their rule set, something that I do not believe is in college basketball at this time, so I've gone ahead and removed that. And for the replay review, I've gone ahead and eliminated the coach's challenge. Lastly, for contracts, I've gone ahead and eliminated short-term contracts. I'm not sure if this is going to keep the CPU from trying to sign players, but nonetheless, went ahead and removed it anyways because it's irrelevant for the March Madness experience. Alright, now that you've done all of the rule changes, it's time to select a team. Now, again, if you want this to be truly authentic and you want every team to have their appropriate college branding, you're going to want to go ahead and right out the gate, select all the teams to be under your control. And then what you'll do one by one, go to every single team. You'll go to the menu, go to front office, go down to team relocation, and then go to 2K share team design. In this example, I'm currently controlling the New Orleans Pelicans, which of course, as I said earlier, is associated with the Purdue Boilermakers team, and I would like to download a Purdue team branding package to apply to the team. So once you get into the 2K share menu, you're going to want to hit triangle on the PlayStation 5 or Y on the Xbox. And from there, I'm going to go ahead and search by the keyword Purdue. And as you can see, there's a ton of different options, a lot of variety. Some I'd say the court is looking more authentic than others. Some I would say the uniforms are looking more authentic than others. Really just depends on your preference, and of course there's dozens of different uploads that players have uploaded to the servers. So, choose whichever one you like. You can also, mix and match and make edits as you see fit once you've gone ahead and make the downloads. Nonetheless, for this video, I've gone ahead and downloaded this design here. And then here we are again. I've gone ahead and switched to the Los Angeles Clippers. Like I said earlier, it's associated with the USC team with Bronny James. I'll go ahead and go back to the 2K Share Team Design menu. I'll search by the keyword USC, and of course, once again, tons of options. Now, for this year's March Madness, of course, USC is part of the Pac-12 conference, which will of course be no more going into next season. So if you're watching this video beyond the 2023-2024 college basketball season, and you're looking to do this for 2024-2025 college basketball, you might have to go in, edit the court, replace that Pac-12 logo with a Big Ten logo, or whatever you want to do to make your experience more authentic. But just showing you what things are looking like right now, and in the current college basketball season in which I am recording this video, you'd go ahead and for the most realistic looking courts, just select the one you think looks best. And then just to show you what this looks like in game, we're going to go ahead and load up the Purdue versus USC game in West Lafayette. And once we get into the team select menu, just be aware that, like in the NBA where some of the games, the teams are playing on their city court with their city uniform. For those of you that know what I'm talking about that are following the NBA, the city uniform will automatically be selected. And with the 2K Team Share designs, the city uniforms are not able to be updated. It's limited to the home jersey, the away jersey, and the statement jersey. So just be mindful of that. You can see Zach Edey is wearing the New Orleans City Edition uniform. And all you have to do to change that is go ahead and select Purdue, click Edit Uniform, and then change to one of the other uniforms that you have available. So just be mindful that sometimes this will happen and you'll automatically be given an NBA jersey instead of one of your college jerseys, but it's a quick, easy fix to manually change them. All right, so now we're in game. As you can see, the court's actually looking nearly spot on to what it looks like in real life. Obviously, the rest of the stands, it looks nothing like Mackey. It's also looking a bit empty because currently the Purdue and USC teams are both towards the bottom of the standings in this simulation, so not a lot of fans showing up for this one. Obviously, of course, in real life, we're used to seeing Mackey Arena just packed. But here you go. You got all your favorite players from both Purdue and USC. On Purdue's side, of course, you got Braden Smith, you got Fletcher Lawyer, you got Zach Edey, Mason Gillis off the bench, and a whole lot of other players, role players that, I'm not going to go through and name every one, but you get the point. Same on the USC side. And again, if there's some stats or some animations that you don't like, for example, I don't think Zach Edey's free throw animation quite looks like what his free throw animation looks like in real life. Personally, that's just my opinion. So you could go ahead if you wanted to edit the roster, edit the players, you're most welcome to do so. Now backing out of the game and going back into the menu here with the calendar, we'll go ahead and simulate to the end of the regular season. And as we said it earlier, it's going to be the top 16 teams in college basketball making it into the playoffs, into March Madness, the single elimination bracket. So unfortunately, we can't set up the playoffs to be a 64-team bracket, but we get it down to the Sweet 16. And we'll go ahead and update the team branding for this 1 seed versus 16 seed matchup. It's going to be the 1 seed as Florida State and the 16 seed as Houston. Surprisingly, nowhere near the top 10 like they are in real life. And then just to show you what it looks like in game during the tournament, of course, we don't have the March Madness style courts. It's going to be the court associated with the home team in that matchup. If you wanted to go above and beyond, you could manually set every team's home court as a March Madness style court. Personally, I think that's a little bit too much effort. So I've just left them the same. So I guess this is more of like an NIT experience rather than NCAA March Madness tournament experience as far as the courts are concerned. But you get the idea. I've gone ahead, simulated the playoffs. Our winner is, it's the Detroit Pistons. I'm not going to bother looking into which college team that's actually associated with at the moment. But once the season is over, once you've completed the March Madness tournament, it's going to go into the off-season menu. Now, of course, With the NBA, there's going to be free agency, there's going to be a draft. So at this point, things are pretty much over. It's not really realistic anymore because the draft is not going to contain new college players. It's gonna, well, unless you do auto-generated college players and you want to keep going on and on and on, you are most certainly welcome to do that. Free agency, I suppose you could treat it like the transfer portal. But nonetheless, that is it for the March Madness experience. Now, I just want to clarify, again, this is on PS5. This would also apply to Xbox Series X and S. You should be able to have access to the same rosters and the same 2K share team brand designs. However, for the PS4, for the Xbox One, and for the PC, I've gotten comments on previous tutorials, so I'm going to emphasize this here. That's on old gen. This is not new gen. This is not PS5. The games are very similar, but some of the features differ. And as far as the settings and where different features are located, and as far as the 2K share designs, that's all separate. Rosters, that should be all separate as far as I'm aware. So can you have a March Madness experience on the PS4 like you can on the PS5? You probably can, but I can't help you as far as telling you what settings those are. I wish I could, but I don't have the PS4 version of the game. So just to clarify, everything you just saw, it might be possible in the older versions of the game, but I don't have the information for you. That being said, hope you all are looking forward to March Madness as much as I am. Hope you guys get to enjoy your March Madness experience with these settings. Like and subscribe for more NBA 2K24 tutorials and content, and I will see you all on the next one. Peace.